The first few tracks were like pretty good, and then it kind of teetered off.
Oh my god, my heart. Hello everyone and welcome back to the New Music Podcast. I'm one of two of your hosts, Shiloh, and I'm here with my co-host, Micah. And today we're taking a look at some new albums that came out throughout the last week. Pretty big week for music this time around, I would have to say. You want to let them know what we got on the roster, Micah?
We have first is IDLES with their album TANGK. Anyways,
I'm not sure how to say it yet, either.
They're a post-punk band from
the UK.
And then next up we have Quadeca with his album Scrapyard. And then we have, I don't know anything about them, rapper Yeat with their new album 2093.
Yes.
That's a lot of pesos.
That is a lot of pesos.
And then we have Serpentwithfeet with their latest album, Grip. Another artist I had nothing. I saw Serpentwithfeet and I was like, huh?
Really? I thought you were familiar, but that's interesting.
Yeah. And then next, Petras with Slut Pop Miami. What an album.
What an album. Yes.
And then, of course, we have our viewer requested video at the end. We have LUNO by Blood Cultures.
Yes, LUNO by Blood Cultures. That one is not new. It's from 2021, but a viewer requested. We went ahead and took a look at it this week, and we're just kind of slapping it on here as a fifth album to look at because the Kim Petras one is actually technically an EP as well. So we're filling things out with that one a little bit, and if you have any suggestions as well, feel free to drop them down there just so we got a little bit of a backlog to take a gander at when we need to. And the first one of the bunch that we're going to be taking a look at is TANGK by IDLES. In the shadow of your home. On the floor. I lost myself again. I think that's how you pronounce it anyways.
Tank. The G goes in there. Tank.
It's a hard one. It's rough. I don't know what it means. Do you know what it means?
It means tank with a G in there.
That's fair. Or tang with a K. Everything about that.
Tang.
It's tangy.
Not good. Tang is not good.
But yeah, IDLES. Pretty decently long anticipated follow-up album to their 2021 record Crawler. We kind of had those albums back to back with Ultramono coming right before it in 2020. These guys are probably my favorite post-punk band out right now, so I was pretty excited to see they're dropping a new LP. It's interesting one to follow up Crawler because that album, it was very depressed, very angry, somewhat personal compared to their other stuff, whereas this album focuses a lot on like love and appreciation and whatnot. So we're going in totally different conceptually. I don't know how I feel about the results. How did you feel about this album?
I liked it. I thought it was good.
You thought it was good?
I thought it was solid, and the songs were interesting and kept me wanting more.
They kept me wanting more too, I would say, but not necessarily in the way where I'm like, wow, I want more like this. More like, I want this song to be more fleshed out fully. I found myself feeling that in a very unexpected turn of events a lot on this album. I think that Crawler was so nicely well executed all around and just felt really impactful, as well as the songs just feeling a little bit more complete on their own. That being said, though, this is an IDLES album, so I do still think it's pretty fun to listen to. Are you really familiar with the band's back catalog? I forget if we've listened to them together much.
Very lightly.
I guess maybe my expectations were a little bit too steep just because I loved Crawler so much, quite possibly, but it really feels to me like we got the bones of a perfect album, but it's just the bones and you need a lot more construction on top of it because some of these songs just don't feel like they go anywhere to me. Either that or they'll be just a little bit more underwritten and bare bones than some of their better hooks they've written or some of the more thought out writing they've done in the past, I guess. I mean, they are a band that is traditionally pretty straightforward with their stuff, but I just feel like these songs don't have a lot of dynamics some of the time. Do you know what I mean?
I guess. I can see how it feels like the bones of a perfect album, but those are perfect bones.
They are
Perfect
really nice bones.
Good bones.
Good bones. I will say a LCD sound system collab was not something I saw in the cards, but it's cool that it happened, and I think that's definitely an example of one of the more complete sounding and really nicely rounded out songs on the album. Did you like Dancer?
Dancer was actually, I don't know what to call it, my favorite track. It was like contender for favorite track on the album.
Yeah, I think this one has a great energy to it, and it really has that punch to it that I think some of them were kind of lacking on here, to be honest with you. I think that can be said for like Hall and Oates as well. That one's kind of a banger for sure. I think if you take out some of the biggest, hardest tracks on here and just play them by themselves, this paints a better picture of the album as a whole than what we actually ended up with.
Yeah, no, I think I like this album more, though, because I feel like, at least like for the first half of the album, those are all, like, good tracks. Like, I liked the track Gospel. I don't know if you,
Yeah,
it almost, like, wasn't punchy, but, like, I enjoyed it.
I felt like this was the best of the slowed down tracks. I think that one's still pretty good overall. Like, it's kind of got that ominous feel to it, and there's, like, a nice instrumental break in there, I know, too. And I don't think it's like one of their more memorable songs and even one of their best like slow songs necessarily, but it did nail that atmosphere right. And I think that a lot of the slow songs on this album really didn't. So I'll agree with you absolutely that I liked A Gospel, but I don't know, like the other slower paced tracks on here just did nothing for me. Even starting on Idea 1, that feels like it mirrors the last album's opener in a way, but it feels like it's just a worse version of it to me personally. It's still got that eerie kind of ominous feel to it as it builds a lot of tension, and it doesn't really ever go anywhere with that tension, and it just doesn't feel like it has subject matter that's as warranting of it either. I don't know. I guess going down the list, there's a few others like that too, but I think you kind of see what I'm saying, maybe.
No, I get you.
Yeah, I just wasn't...
My eyes are opening up to the potential that this album could have had.
Yeah, right. Like, if these slower tracks had an explosive moment, or at least a more conclusive send-off, I think I'd be a little bit more keen on them, but the way it stands, it just feels really tonally inconsistent in its sound, and doesn't feel very climactic as a whole. To me, personally. But again, if you pick out those bigger, heavier tracks, and some of them just feel really nicely rounded overall in comparison, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. An interesting one for me was Pop, 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 because it has a lot of what I want, but just didn't feel fully there. How did you feel about that song?
I think I literally wrote down being edged.
Right. It doesn't necessarily get there, you know? And yeah, I think that's kind of a consistent trope here. It does need a little bit more explosivity. I think of a song like Car Crash on the last album, and like the way that shit just rattles your whole insides. I mean, I just didn't feel like my insides were very rattled when listening to this album.
I started with TANGK. I've yet to like go through and sit down and like give the time Crawler deserves. Which I'm probably not doing tomorrow, honestly. And like I'm listening to Car Crash right now, and I'm just like, oh, this is what it could be.
Yeah, right. There's so much more potential. That's all I'm saying. Is like Crawler is probably in the top 10 albums of the decade for me so far. So I understand that I'm going to come in with a little bit of a bias here, but it is just hard for me to ignore that the band can do so much better.
We listened to Ultra Mono together, remember?
Oh, yes, yeah, we did. I think
That was the one that was like, whoa.
Yeah, we both really liked that album, did we not?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, it's not the IDLES album that I revisit the most, but I think that one's still like significantly one of their better ones, and even putting this up next to Ultramono makes it look a little weak to me.
Yeah.
I mean, even comparing to Ultramono instead of Crawler, this looks a little weak. Even though I think Crawler is the better.
Sorry, car crash is playing in my ears, and this is really, really good.
It's insane, isn't it? Right? Yeah. But if we're not to compare it to their other work, I think I would just be like, oh, this is okay. Like, this is a good, just fine post-punk album that needs a little bit of something, but the way it sits is good. So, I mean, I can't be negative on the album. There's songs that I'm definitely coming back to. I think I mentioned them all already. You got Dancer, Hall & Oates, and Jungle are the songs that I'm most specifically going to revisit. What were your favorites on here?
I would have to say Roy and Dancer.
Roy and Dancer, huh? Roy was an interesting one for me because it's kind of an aesthetic mismatch with like the folksy thing going on with it. But it was cool. It's like a bad idea taken to a good place, if you are to ask me.
Yeah. It's the fucking, they do the thing where it sounds like when you click Windows wrong and it goes dun. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like the opening guitar.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, for sure. Did you have a specific least favorite here?
If I had to pick, I'd probably go with Pop Pop Pop, just because it was the one that made me the most unhappy, because I was expecting, like, a more punchier album, I should say.
Yeah, just like
not even more punchy, just like...
Right, like you were looking for an explosive moment in it.
I was like, oh, when's this shit gonna smack?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's kind of how I was feeling.
This build-up is so good.
Right, so true, yeah. I think if I'm to pick out least favorites, I think I've got Grace, Monolith, and Idea 1 listed here. Just because these felt the most incomplete to me. They are all slower songs. Oh, and Monolith pissed me off specifically as the closer because of the last seconds of the album. It's got this like saxophone thing going on. You think that it's going to end on like a really cool note, and then it just stops before it goes anywhere. I feel like it sums up the album well to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm listening to it right now.
Yeah, just that last few seconds.
Yeah, that was kind of fucking annoying.
It's so anticlimactic. Like, it makes you feel like it's gonna do something.
Quadeca played after that, because I clicked it on the playlist.
Yeah. That's an interesting transition. And I suppose it's gonna be the one we take in a moment here as well, after we give our scores. What was your score for the album?
I gave it, drumroll please, 75.
75. I went with a 64 on it. And again, might be a little bit tainted by my previous perception of the band. So I guess keep it in mind. All right, and as alluded to previously, the next album we got up here is Quadeca's Scrapyard.
What is really about 8 times out of 10? I got way too many friends. I got way too many friends. I got way too many friends. I got way too many. I got way too many friends. Watch they into the venue, had to go through the back. Guess who went in and out? Each city didn't even unpack.
This one is another one where I'm coming in a little bit more knowledgeable. Actually, maybe a lot more knowledgeable. Because have you even heard I Didn't Mean to Haunt You?
I listened to it a little bit after listening to this album first. I actually realized I have heard of Quadeca before. He did a video with Hive Mind about like the worst tracks.
Oh yes, yeah. The worst songs of all time bracket. Yeah. That's a fucking banger video right there. Yeah, he's great on Hive Mind videos, and he's a pretty frequent guest there. So yeah, I guess that would be kind of a place of familiarity for you there. But hearing his actual music in comparison to his presence on Hive Mind being kind of upbeat and very happy and whatnot is probably quite the harsh tonal contrast, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, dude. Fucking emo rap. I was like, okay, I don't like emo rap. And then I listen to this, and I'm like,
well, this definitely isn't emo rap, I don't think, in its actual, like, classifications, but it's sad music with rap influence, for sure. He's really just kind of throwing everything at the wall on this one in particular. Like, the last one had some noise rock stuff going on it and whatnot. This one's like every genre.
Yeah, bro. This one fucking went hard as fuck. Yeah, like, they had Kevin Abstract on the last track. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, right?
That's how I knew this was gonna be an album. I really liked Kevin Abstract's last album.
Yeah, I did too. We both listened to that one at the tail end of last year, I believe is when that came out. And you can tell Kevin's still kind of on that mindset that he was with Blanket with the way he sounds on that track, but it might be even better yet on that track, honestly. On that closer here. That and Break-Ins also made an appearance, and I love Break-Ins.
I've never heard of Break-Ins.
Gotcha. Well, how did you feel about what he does on A La Carte?
I feel good about it. I like this whole album quite a lot.
I like this whole album quite a lot too, yeah.
Bro, the first track, I was like, ooh, this is like hitting that fucking part of my brain that like Echo 2K was supposed to hit but wasn't quite hitting.
Oh, that's really interesting. Where it just kind of clicks in that
auto-tune bass behind the man crying in the corner.
Yeah, that's a very interesting way to state it.
I was like, oh, let's go, dude.
Let's go, dude. Yeah. That kind of weird sample in the back that's like looped throughout the whole song is very cool. And I don't think Dust Cutter is one of my favorite tracks, but what was done with it was interesting for sure. And it is a good tone setter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think what we've got going on here, from everything I understand, is that this album is actually like a collection of extras from him, basically. I know that there's at least 2 songs confirmed that they were cut from I Didn't Mean to Haunt You. One song was confirmed to be cut from Me to You, the album that preceded that one. And then I think the rest is just like extras that he's been working on the side in between, or were left off of whatever he's working on for his next album entirely. So it's hard to say what tracks here are like the transition into his next era and what is like leftover stuff from before. But the fact that it's basically just like a project of like, oh, here's some other stuff. This isn't even like a mainline album necessarily for him, and yet it's still so well made. I think that's kind of crazy.
You can tell he cares about the art he is producing, no matter where it's going to go.
Yeah, really. I gotta say, I mean, I'm glad he let all of these songs see the light of day, whether or not they were originally intended to or not, because there's not really a song I would ever cut from this thing that I feel like I didn't need to hear.
I feel like I'm going to go out on a limb and say the album has no bad songs.
Yeah, no, I didn't dislike a single moment on it. There's some that I'm not really going to be coming back to necessarily, but more of the songs than not I thought were like really, really good.
What was like your standout tracks?
My standout tracks, so one that I didn't necessarily like as much, but was an interesting standout, was Guess Who, because he's like doing a Cardi thing almost. It's like a rage beat, and then it still gets all like noisy and experimental with the mixing and everything. But he's just like hyping himself up on the song, which is such a strange contrast to much of it. What did you think about Guess Who?
Guess Who's one of my favorite tracks in the album, actually.
Gotcha. I don't know if maybe I just need to hear it isolated from the rest, but it is a banger, I will say. I didn't necessarily have it like hidden for me in the context of this album when I actually listened to all of it, but it's definitely a standout.
I was listening to it in the car. That's why I went really hard too. It was definitely like really good in the car.
That's true. That's a really good car song for sure. And I think another great specific standout is You Tried That Thing Where You're Human. Wow.
That was my favorite track on the album.
Me too. Absolutely crazy song. I mean,
that shit's...
Oh my god.
Whoa. Dude, I listened to that like after I took an edible, and I was like, whoa.
I imagine it's very trippy, it's very unsettling, but like the emotions are so potent in it. You can hear him like start kind of cracking up, maybe crying a little bit at the end of that first verse, and I'm just like, oh my god, my heart is hurting.
Crying at the function.
Yes. It fucking that one just leaves you with a big old like hole in your guts, you know what I mean? It's
you know, this blows my dick completely off, but in like a sad way, so it kind of like falls off.
What an interesting spin on the formula of blowing your dick off.
Blows it clean off, but it's a sad album, so it falls off.
Yeah, that's a that's a new spin on that motif, I suppose. We've talked a little bit about Texas Blue, but that's obviously a standout. That little acoustic thing he's got going on with Kevin Abstract there. I mean,
oh, yeah, dude.
Wild. Let's see. Do you have any other like specific standouts that you feel we need to make specific mention of?
Did I mention Way Too Many Friends?
No, actually, you didn't, and I didn't, and I think I meant to as well.
Yeah, that's definitely my third favorite. Mostly because, like, it's not good with me number 2, but it is good enough for me to be like, oh, I should have talked about that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that one is cut out to be the biggest hit on the album, for sure. It's very catchy. It's kind of got, like, a straightforward rapping thing going on with it, which is not something that he's been really leaning towards at all in the last, I don't know, few years or so. So it is cool to see him, like, put out a catchy rap song. And, I mean, what did you think of the lyrics on this one? Pretty great, right?
Fuck you.
I like what it does because, you know, we all talk about not having enough friends at some point in our lives, but it does get exhausting to keep up with people sometimes. And I think that's a little bit of the commentary that it's putting in there, where it's like, I mean, are you really actually friends with these people if you never really talk? You don't actually want to put in some time to be friends with them and whatnot. I think it's something that just kind of happens as you grow a little bit into your adult life and stuff, where it's just like, oh yeah, I guess we're friends type of thing. You know what I'm saying with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I got way too many friends. I got way too many friends.
just coming in with the bars over here. Yeah, I think the whole album was pretty good as a whole. It's a mixed bag, but it is a mixed tape. So that's what you come for, I suppose.
Mixed bag, but they're all good.
Yeah, it's usually when you say something like that, it means that some of them are lacking in quality, but when I'm saying this one's a mixed bag, it just means, like, you really don't know what's happening next. There's an overarching aesthetic, but it's all very off-the-wall pacing-wise, which is super cool. Did you have any least favorites on here? Because I think we've talked a lot about our favorites.
No least favorites.
No least favorites? Not at all?
Well, now that you're pressing me, I don't really remember Pretty Privilege.
Really?
Oh, no, I remember it now. Hold on a minute. Now, Easier's the one that I actually don't remember. I just forgot what Pretty Privilege for a second.
Yeah, I think Easier is one of my least favorites as well, just because it didn't feel like it was one of the more significant ones to me. It has some of that really vulnerable writing that Pretty Privilege and a la carte do about relationships, but it feels like a lesser version of those ones to me. Facts, yeah. The writing too. I mean, we didn't even really get into that, but this is such a nicely written album. Just all throughout, but we won't even open that door because we could be yapping for hours with me around here.
Yep.
What did you end up scoring this one?
I gave it a 90 out of 100.
Whoa. Okay, well, I'm really glad you liked it that much. I think this is kind of a thing again where I'm a little bit plagued by the knowledge of how good the previous album was, because I Didn't Mean to Haunt You is a perfect album for me. So I only can really not compare them so much. And at some point I do have to be like, okay, but I think I would rather listen to I Didn't Mean to Haunt You, which is why I went with an 81% on this. Still excellent album. I'm still going to be revisiting it a lot. And that is, I mean, like, that's an 8 out of 10. That's about as solid as it gets, you know what I'm saying? But
I want you to know that I listened to Scrapyard, then I Didn't Mean to Haunt You. Man, I Didn't Mean to Haunt You is really good. I Didn't Mean to Haunt You is really good.
Yeah, he's really good now, which is crazy. One of the craziest glow-ups in music history. Because, like, I went from giving this man a 2 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10.
A 2?
Yeah, on his first actual album, I genuinely hated it. And then just 2 albums later. Voice memos? Yeah, voice memos. I do not like voice memos. To this day, I just, like, don't think he did anything creative or interesting there. But I mean, I don't know if he was just listening to criticism or what happened here, but, like, holy shit. The matter of time of, like, 5 years made this guy into just one of the best out there. Insanity.
Yeah, dude. I Didn't Mean to Haunt You came out 3 years after Voice Memos.
Really? It was only that small of an amount of time, huh?
Yeah.
That's insane. Huh. Well, I'm super excited to see what he does next, and this album only makes me more excited for that because I know this isn't like an official mainline album. So I'm super excited to see what I believe Vanisher ends up being. I think that's what he's been teasing a little bit, like at the end of, I think one of the music videos as well, it said Vanisher. So
yeah,
only more on the way, and it seems like it will only improve from here, if that's even possible.
bro, I'm looking at his like mixtapes, and it goes 30, 40, 30, 40, 40. But then, then in 2015, he dropped the FIFA mixtape, and it has a 96.
What? Why does it...
Well, okay, so 4 people gave it 100s, and then 1 person gave it a 69.
That's insane. I highly doubt it's that good.
No, this looks all ironic.
Oh, okay. I don't know, man. But regardless, I have to imagine it's not as good as I Didn't Mean to Haunt You, so...
I'm going to give it a 100 right now.
All right.
Yeah, it's 8 100s and a 169.
That's insane.
They're all memes. They're all meme reviews.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really funny.
But I guess I think that's about all we got to say on that one. All right, and the next one we have up here is Serpentwithfeet's new album, Grip.
Hold you closer, closer than those damn gloves. I don't need no weed, I don't need no liquor. I just wanna keep crying. If God is a God at all, He lives in your grip. I'm lucky to be. I don't wanna make a mess. I don't wanna move too fast. But let's not avoid the deep end.
You said you haven't heard Serpentwithfeet at all before?
No. First time.
Did you happen to go back and listen to any of his older projects before you listened to this one?
No, oh no.
No? Okay. Gotcha. As an introduction to Serpentwithfeet, because unfortunately, again, my perspective is tainted by previous works, which seems to be a running theme today. As your first listen being Grip, what did you think?
I didn't like this album at all. It's kind of...
You didn't like it at all?
I shouldn't say that. Because, like, it's alright. So there's a couple songs that are like, whatever.
Right.
But I don't like it.
I think it's kind of mid. I think it's just okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't tell you to play something else.
Right.
If you were playing this. But if you said, hey, turn on this, I'd be like,
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. If it's playing, like, out in public or when you're just out doing something, it seems like it would hit perfectly fine. But actually sitting down and giving this thing a listen was pretty mid, like, focusing on it.
And since we're from the Midwest, we know mid when we see it.
True. We're out here putting the mid and Midwest.
Let's go.
Let's go. The thing that bothers me about Grip is that anybody could have made this album.
Yeah.
And it sucks because I really like Deacon a lot, his previous album, and I thought that it was like legitimately somewhat creative. And I don't know if maybe I'm just off base with this, but I felt like Serpentwithfeet was a person who brought something pretty fresh and somewhat innovative to R&B, but this just feels like R&B by the numbers to me. It's got some songs that like would hit decent in the club, or they're kind of like relaxing pop music. A lot of good like love song stuff on here. It's kind of cute and or sensual at times, depending on what part you're looking at. But yeah, man, it's just kind of mediocre.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This wasn't like none of the neurons were firing listening to this one. It was all just kind of like, okay. I was like, how long so?
Yeah, well, it's not very long, and it just kind of spaces right by. That's the thing.
I don't even have anything really interesting to say about it because it wasn't offensively bad, and it wasn't like really good.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It was in the in betweeny place where it's just kind of like, okay, this is music I will hear at Kohl's now.
I love Kohl's being used as the example, but
yeah, especially as I never shopped there. I don't know why I was thinking about Kohl's, but this feels like something that like wine moms are gonna listen to and be like, "Look at me, I'm so hip with the new music."
I think that nobody's going to choose to turn this on specifically. I think this is just going to be background music.
If you say, "Hey Alexa, turn on R&B," it's gonna come up.
That's true. Yeah. It seems like boilerplate music.
I had to make sure my Alexa wasn't going to do it.
That is great, yeah. I don't know.
Man, it sucks too because there are some notable features like Mick Jenkins is on here, Ty Dolla $ign.
I mean,
I don't know who everyone else is.
I mean, but Ty Dolla $ign is just on everything. He has an album called Featuring Ty Dolla $ign because he's aware of the fact that he's just the feature guy. I think his feature is okay, but I also found it really interesting that the whole song is like somewhat sexual, and then it felt like he came on the song and was basically just saying no homo his entire verse.
He was like, alright, enough of that gay shit.
That song was pretty good anyways. I guess Damn Gloves, I think, was maybe my favorite on the album. I'm actually going to check and see what I had written down. Yeah, I thought that one, the song with Mick Jenkins and Deep End were all pretty good. Those ones I might throw onto a playlist, I guess.
I don't know, man. I haven't looked at any of these. I'm not going to listen to these ever again, probably.
Gotcha, that's totally fair. Do you have a least favorite? Did anything, like, rub you the wrong way specifically, or is it all just kind of there for you?
I think Safe Word rubbed me the wrong way. Let me double check.
I can see how that could happen.
Yeah, I was like, ugh, sticky.
It's a little sticky, I suppose. I didn't like Rum/Throwback at all. I thought that the pacing of it was really strange. Like, you have that skit in the middle. It just feels so unnecessary. Like, why is this not just two separate, fully fleshed out songs rather than a mashup of two things that don't make any sense?
I got you.
That one felt misguided to me, but the rest of the album just kind of vibes, and I'm fine with it while it's on, so I gave it a 62%, but I probably won't ever come back to it.
I wanted to turn it off, so I gave it a 49%.
That's fair. You know what, man? I'll take it. And the next one then we have on the roster is Yeat's 2093.
I was bored by the shit, made $1 billion. Now fuck that bitch, I need trees. How long can you stand with me? How long can you stand for me?
This was an album.
Yes. This shit slaps, man. Oh my god, I fucking love this album. I didn't expect to. I wasn't going into this like, yeah, Yeat's gonna be my favorite artist from now on. But and I'm being inflammatory, of course, but this goes so hard. Oh my god. What is going on? As somebody who's completely unfamiliar with Yeat, how do you feel about this?
The first few tracks were like pretty good, and then it was kind of teetered off.
Oh my god, my heart.
Did that break your heart?
You broke my heart.
This was okay.
I listened to this on my way to my doctor's appointment yesterday, and I gotta tell you, I think I went faster than I've ever drove. I was almost late to the appointment, and then I ended up early.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, Psycho CEO is really funny.
Oh, it goes so hard, man.
Oh,
I don't know if you are aware of this. I think I sent you a video on it a little bit, but Yeat is now claiming that he's an alien from another planet, or at the very least that he has seen aliens and has no memory of any time before it, leading him to believe that he is an alien. So, I believe him. I think that's accurate.
Alright, so I didn't know the lore. If I knew the lore, I would have liked this more.
Well, that's why I sent you the Hive Mind video, boss.
I forgot about it, boss.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, no. He's got this whole alien thing going on, this whole aesthetic where he's in the future and he's in space and all this whatnot. I think it makes for a really interesting sound, personally. I think this devalidates most of the other people making rage music because this sounds so much more interesting to me.
Rage music?
Yeah, which is offshoot of Playboi Carti.
Oh, see, I never really fucked with Playboi Carti like that.
Gotcha, yeah, so if you're completely departed from this scene in general, this certainly is not the best jumping on point because it's experimenting on a formula pretty harshly, I would say. It's taken a lot of new things to a formula you're already probably not all too familiar with, but I will say, fuck, it sounds fun.
Maybe you need to let it marinate.
Yeah, no, I think maybe you do, because feel like knowing you and your tastes, this could be something that you just think is fucking kind of wild. Because I think it's kind of wild.
I got you.
I love how futuristic this whole thing sounds, kind of dipping back into that whole alien thing, and the samples that he's pulling from, and the way this album is just produced in general. I don't know, man. It makes me feel like I'm on fucking lots of drugs all at once. Listening to this album and I'm somewhere else, okay? You know what I'm saying with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shit, and there's like quite a bit of variation too. I've never said this with an album that's like 20 plus tracks like this, especially in kind of mainstream hip hop in any way. But there's no songs I would cut. Like, I think they're all pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it. Like, the album wasn't bad. There was no standout tracks where they were like, stand out, this song sucks, get this out of here. But when I kind of like end up falling into like the whole album, they all kind of like end up like blurbing together for me, and I'm like, what's going on, bro?
That's fair. Yeah, I can see how that could happen because it does have a similar aesthetic throughout. It just, I think that the individual songs have enough personality to keep them afloat.
2 edibles, and I'm just like listening to it right now too, and I'm like, oh, whoa, man, I can't really handle this right now.
It would probably be quite intense.
Like Riot and Set It Off is playing right now, and I'm just like, oh, bro, calm down.
I have not listened to this in any state but sober so far, but as soon as I am not, I guarantee you this is going to be popping on the old speaker system.
Psycho CEO, though, I'm just like,
Okay, well you've got the fundamentals then, because I feel like that song kind of represents the rest of it.
I think it took the edible for me to go like, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't remember if I liked or didn't like Keep Pushing.
Keep Pushing is alright. Not one of my favorites on here, but I don't think it's a standout, but I think it's a good one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That was okay. There's one around, what other track? Trying to think. Is it this one good track? The one where it's If We Being Real with the 2 dots above the E?
Yes. Yeah. That's another thing. His whole syntax is weird. He like says things weird and writes them out in like like puts the accents on everything and everything. It's a whole little aesthetic he's got going on.
I'm warming up to it now that we're talking about it. See, now I'm like going through it while I'm like slightly inebriated. I'm like, yeah.
It just, I don't know, man. It just hits.
Are we ready for scoring? Because I have 2 scores to give it.
I think there's a couple things I want to mention. Did you feel any sort of way about I Love? Because I feel like that's one of the most aesthetically different songs.
It's weird. It kind of reminds me of like, it's the one where I was like, did this man like eat cemetery? And cemetery is like, sounds like an Eaton Cemetery for a little bit with the autotune.
It's so funny having somebody on here who's not familiar with this scene at all, because yeah, I guess that would kind of be your point of reference, because yeah, you're not really into all the rage stuff, or like even really.
Bro, why'd he eat cemetery? Spit him out, bro.
That's what you got to do sometimes, I guess. I don't know. The sample on that is so cool though too. Fucking crazy song. The Lil Wayne feature on here. Whoa.
That's right, Lil Wayne featured on here. Lifestyle.
Yes.
I forgot to talk about that.
Oh, one of my favorite songs. What do you have any thoughts?
I forgot Lil Wayne still like did things.
Yeah, no, he's active.
I thought all I did was complain. So all I ever see is like him complaining about shit. It's like, bro, what is legit about?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, man. No, he's still active, and this is the best thing I've heard from Lil Wayne in so long. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm a cheesehead, but my hoe yellow. What is he? talking about?
He's just saying some shit.
Is he from Wisconsin?
No, I think he's a Packers fan though. Is that the lore?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe.
I think that's what he's making reference to. Shout out Wisconsin, that's where we're from. The way he comes in on that beat with fucking, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's a desert eagle, or however he phrases it.
Look up. It's a bird. Look up. It's a plane. No, bitch. It's a desert eagle.
Yes. It's insanely hard. Like,
small feet, but I kick asses.
That's what you gotta do, you know? The beat on that song is insane too. Like, it's one of the more mainstream leaning ones. It's like a little less weird, but it still has that weird alien edge to it where I'm like, oh my god, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, dude, all my watches on Demon Time. What does that even mean? All these he's got too many diamonds on his watch, bro. He can't see the diamonds. He can only see diamonds at the time. I think he needs less diamonds. Like, what's the point of the watch then, bro? What are you on about?
Flexing. That's what you gotta do.
You don't need no flex. You're Lil Wayne. You can be like, look at me go.
Listening to you listen to this while on an edible is so funny because I love that it's clicking now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have any favorites before?
Psycho CEO.
Oh, right. Yeah, I do think we mentioned that one. Very good song for sure. It'd be like in my top 10, which is a crazy thing to say about an album, but it would be. There's so many songs here. My other favorites that I haven't mentioned yet are Breathe and Mr. In Between It. Breathe, I think, is the song that I'm going to listen to the most. The way
Mr. In Between It was good.
Yeah, no, it's a great fucking song too, but the way Breathe hits in the car is wild. So you just had Psycho CEO before? Any least favorites?
I had 2093 written down, the title track.
You know, I think that's actually fair. I think that's what a lot of people are calling their least favorite. I didn't like it that much at first, but it's growing on me.
Yeah, it's really funny. Like, it's funny, but it's like...
There's something very primal about the way he's just repeating things in the chorus. I don't know. It strikes me a certain way now. I'm like, oh.
It feels more like an interlude than an actual track.
It does. It does, yeah, I'll totally give you that. And maybe it was supposed to, given it's kind of the title track, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really care for Psycho-Kane, despite it having the best fucking title ever, or Familia that much, and also didn't really like Stand On It with Future. I think Future sounds fucking ridiculous on this song.
Bro, let a man live.
He's mixed awfully.
Let a man live.
I just think he doesn't know what to do here. I think he's just confused.
I think he's got abducted by Yeat's an alien and he abducted Future. Which I don't know how, because Future can see the future.
Maybe that's why Future's here. He is the future.
He's from the future.
Future is the future.
Forever.
Yes. Did you have any specific least favorites?
I said 2093.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I already asked you that. I'm sorry.
What was your final score?
My final score for this was 82%. This is my favorite album this week.
I gave it a 76.
76? Well, that's pretty good considering the fact that you said you kind of weren't really messing with it that much. So, you know what, man? I'll take it.
My high score is an 82. It was one of those albums where I wasn't maybe messing with it very much, but I could understand it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
That's why I was like, I need to let this one marinate.
I think once you do, you're going to end up loving it.
I just put my score in the album of the year, so I'm looking at everyone else's review. Brad Tastes in Music gave it an 88.
Yeah, no, he loves it, and I think it's awesome that he loves it.
The Melon gave it an 8 as well.
Yep, everybody's fucking with it, and I am right there with them. It's great. All right, I think that transitions us nicely then into our final new release for the week, Kim Petras' Slut Pop Miami.
Important message. Read on screen.
Good gag on it.
Well cock, well cock. That Moby Dick. I want a well cock. Power.
I never really liked. A cock blocker.
I'm so sorry I brought this album to your attention.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of mad at you for it. I had to listen to this, you fucking prick.
It's so terrible. I truly think this is a magnificent entry into the world of it's so bad it's good music, though. How would you feel about that?
I don't know, man. I don't know about that.
How do you feel about the thing in general?
I feel like it fucking sucked.
Yeah. Really, like, some of the worst bottom of the barrel lyricism anyone could possibly display.
Bro, who is the... I'm looking at the fucking album of the year thing. Who gave it a 70? What critic? Who is Clash?
I don't know what they're on about. I have to imagine it's like, I'm not sure how to put it, but they're earning merit with like people who want to listen to sexual music, or like they're giving credit to sexual music. I feel like is the only way this would.
So it's the only way to go to horny album, bro. Better horny albums.
There's so many better horny albums.
I would like to say any of these track names we would get demonetized, and we're not even monetized. They would just ban us.
There's a song called Whale. I cannot.
Bro, with hit tracks like this, that, and but
Oh my god, yes.
head honcho, bro.
It is so goofy that this exists. Oh my god.
The last track is just straight up, can we
Yeah, just can we fuck? I love how it's the most tasteful title too. Like, realistically speaking, can we fuck is the least raunchy thing said here.
The album name is Slut Pop Miami, bro. What?
Actually, this is a sequel to her previous Slut Pop EP. It was just called that. I went back and checked that out just for posterity's sake, and I gotta say, it's a lot of the same, but that one's a little bit less ridiculous. This is more silly, and I think a lot of that comes down to the sound of this too. It sounds just like the worst of the 2010s. You know what I'm saying with that?
Yeah, bro. I listened to it once and then I was like, I'm mad.
I feel like I walked into a club in 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awful. It just sounds terrible. And like the pitch shifted vocals, oh my god, it's ridiculous. Fucking, I forget which song it is now. I think it's Whale, where it's just like the deep voice chorus on it and everything. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm gonna listen to it right now. I just know what you're talking about. What the fuck?
Did you let that slip by? Did you maybe repress some of the memories of this album?
I tried to.
Like, the way everything is so blunt and straightforward with absolutely no tact whatsoever is ridiculous. It's just absurd that people sat down and made this music happen.
How long is this fucking EP?
It's 23 minutes.
Somebody sat down for at least 23 minutes and was like, yeah.
Yeah, like, this got somebody's stamp of approval.
Someone who isn't Kim Petras was like, yeah.
Like, people gave their stamp of approval here and said, yes, release this in the way that it is. Like, dude, the thing is, sexual music isn't even necessarily something I'm against whatsoever. I'm somewhat of a fan of Megan Thee Stallion, I would say. You know, there's a few artists like that. Even somebody like Cupcake is doing it so much better than this.
That's what those reviews mean when people are saying, like, she wants to be Cupcake.
Yeah, no, because, I don't know, have you ever heard anything by Cupcake?
No.
Okay, yeah, so it's somewhat similar in the way that it's very straightforwardly very explicit and sexual and everything about it. But the thing is, Cupcake's somewhat clever about it. This is just like, I want penis, and then the beat drops. Like, that's all we got here.
Yeah.
It's insane, man. Oh my god, fucking Banana Boat too.
I'm not going back. Fuck that.
You're not going back?
I'm not going back. I fucking hate this album, bro.
There is no reason there should be a song called Butt like this. It's just absurd.
I want to stop talking about this album. I fucking hate this album, bro.
It's so terrible. That's fair. I think we've kind of said our piece. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I would not take its existence away from the world, but it is a 0%. That is my first 0 on this podcast, and it might be my only one for a while.
You gave it a 0?
0, zilch, nothing of actual good quality.
I gave it a 3 because it's better than Green Day.
There's no way you believe that.
I gave it bucket out. I gave it an 18 because this is better than Green Day.
Well, that's a warm take.
Just want to be dramatic.
We'll say that much.
Not a hot take.
Not a hot. That's a warm take right there.
It's because Green Day sucks.
You know what? I'm fine with you dying on that hill. Let's just move right along at this point.
Yeah, I want to listen to a good album, please.
Yeah, and a good album is Blood Culture's LUNO.
Keeps bringing me back.
The week will all be gone. Your time has come.
Talking about that life, 'cause I would care. Talking about that life.
At least I would say so anyways. How about you?
And you would be correct. It is a pretty good album.
I knew you'd like this a lot. It really reminds me of a lot of the stuff that you would specifically search out and listen to when we lived together. Like, not so much the electronic influences of it, but the indie stuff they do on here, like the acoustic and the kind of weirdly mixed vocals really seems like your bag.
In my bag.
Yeah. How'd you feel about this thing as a whole?
This blew my cock clean off.
I'm glad to hear it. I figured it would. I still don't know exactly what to think about this. I almost feel like I'm missing something, but it sounds so cool. I'm like addicted to this in a weird sort of way.
I listened to it twice today.
I've listened to it twice today as well. Once kind of passively and once actually like focusing in on it. And I gotta say, it's really good in both settings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I drove around to this album quite a bit last night, and it was really good in the car too. Like, it's just a really nice, solid vibe all around to it. I gotta say, it's interesting. The first track is called "Keep Bringing Me Back" because it does indeed keep bringing me back. I think that's a really solid opener too.
Oh, fuck yeah, bro.
Yeah, the mix of like just general indie aesthetics on here, like some of the acoustic stuff, that very like tropical island feel on something like Deep Sea Diver, to just some of like the crazy electronic stuff all throughout here. Like, there's so many genres at play here, you know?
Yeah, dude, I feel like whenever their next album comes out, hopefully it's bad, because it feels like their predecessor to something like a much better album.
That's totally fair, yeah. I can see that. I think they're trying out a lot here, and it's a little bit of a blessing and a curse, because it does feel a little inconsistent at times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's cool, though. Like, you get such a good mix. So at the same time, I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. Hit me with all of these weird sounds all at once.
Fuck yeah, dude. Like, I think it's track 2.
Deep Sea Diver?
It's just like the piano in that, like, feels super, like, nostalgic, I want to say.
I definitely get that. I think that one's not exactly the best executed, just because I don't know what to make of the back and forth nature of it. Kind of the mixing is a little odd too, but it's a really cool concept, and I think it might grow on me.
That's what I'm like seeing about this album. It's all like, that's what I mean by it's the predecessor to a really good album.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of end up feeling like I'm missing something. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
What is not quite clicking, you know?
I don't know, man. I had it like click for me earlier today when I was like, whoa. Because I was going to give it, like, somewhere in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think I bumped up to, like, I want to give it a solid 8. Or, like, fucking 7, 8.
Something like that, yeah.
Like, the final scoring on this album is, like, I don't know if it's, like, it's like, right there.
Right? It's a really hard one to kind of digest with so much going on with it. I think that if you look at each song as its own piece, too, it really works well. You can split it apart and be like, oh, each of these songs are worth listening to on their own, you know what I mean?
It's a little motherfucking slice.
I think specifically When the Night Calls is a really good example of everything coming together, right? Do you know what I mean with that song? I think it's honestly...
Yeah, that was one of my favorite tracks, if not my favorite track.
It's pretty easily my favorite song. I think it's genuinely perfect. I fall into this one every time. The sampling use on that is crazy.
Yeah, bro.
It's kind of that like backing spoken thing that gets all chopped up and whatnot is really cool.
It tickles my brain. My brain's saying it goes...
It does tickle the brain. It is a very brain-tickling album. Very good sounds just happening at every moment of it.
Oh, dude, let's do it right now. I'm just like, yeah, I was in the car listening to this one. I was like, yeah.
It does hit. It does hit. It's just such a good vibe to have on.
It's like dancing in the club quietly.
Damn.
But like, if you turn it all the way up, it's still really good.
I actually ended up doing that on my last listen last night when I was going through, and I'm like, wow, you can really sink into the atmosphere here and just kind of appreciate everything going on.
Yeah, bro.
This artist, like, I'm not sure if it's actually like a group or a individual, but whoever is behind all of this has a really good grasp on like their actual audio engineering. You know what I'm saying with that? Like everything sits in its place really well.
Crisp.
Very crisp.
I'm glad I was able to listen to my new headphones.
Yeah, it's a really good one to just have in any setting, really. I have to say, what's also strange is that if I had a nickel for each time I reviewed an album on this channel that had a Halloween song but was not a Halloween album, I would have 2 nickels. It's not a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
Yeah, Graveyard Vibes.
Yeah, Graveyard Vibes. What a cool song, right?
Song. Bucks.
It does. It's got kind of that goth rock thing going on, which is so unexpected.
Yeah, bro.
Like the whole lyrics of it are just on some like zombies and ghost shits. It's very strange lyrically.
Fucking goblins and shit, bro.
Goblins and ghouls.
Yeah, dude. But never ghoul.
I think that just the instrumentation here all across is really well done and just I don't know, man. It's a really good sounding album, but it's very strange the spot that it feels.
Yeah, bro. Very strange. Forever.
Do you have specific favorites on here that you haven't mentioned yet?
Yeah. I really, really liked Cabin Fever Freestyle.
Me too.
Set It On Fire also fucking slapped.
That seems like it's the big song from this album, and I can see why, because it definitely gets into that indie nostalgic kind of little bag that...
It does the little whistle.
The little whistle, yes. It's got some good lyrics on it. Really cool, like, outro on that track, too. I think that'll probably go underappreciated, but the vibes there are strange and cool.
Yeah, the outro is cool. I'm listening right now. I just like to make sure that's what my thoughts are all about. I'm a little slow right now, so like whenever you mention something, I go listen to it, so it's more fresh in my brain.
That's fair. You know what I mean though with the church bells?
Yeah, it goes do 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 do.
Yeah, that probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna keep coming back to this one for sure. I think that it's a cool one to revisit when I'm just kind of feeling this strange little vibe. I don't know how it's gonna age on me, but I have to imagine it's only going to grow from here because so far it's only grown on me. And it sounds like that's the case for you too, right?
Yeah, bro. I'm genuinely excited to see where this band goes.
Me too. And again, yeah, I'm not even sure if it's just like a one person or a whole band, but it's even more impressive if it's just one person, and that's kind of how it looks. Yeah. Other than the ones we mentioned, just Cabin Fever Freestyle, that's the one you want to mention?
Cabin Fever Freestyle, When the Night Calls, Scrapyard Vibes, and Set It On Fire are my 4 favorites.
We are pretty much on the same page, I gotta say. Those are my favorites as well. And my least favorite ends up being Deep Sea Diver, but I think it could have been my favorite if it was just executed a little bit differently. Like, the ideas here are super cool, and I like this whole aquatic theme. But I don't know, something about how it's mixed kind of rubbed me wrong, and like the pacing of it's strange. Do you have any least favorites?
I think Deep Sea Diver.
Yeah, it seems like the weakest one.
Go back and listen to the opening for Beneath the Moon and Me, because like listening right now and it's like, hell yeah.
Hold on, okay, I will. Oh yeah, I know what you mean before even hearing it. Yeah, that like kind of whole static thing going on here, or oh wait.
No, the intro, it's like the siren, it's like a siren going off, bro.
Yeah, actually, that is so cool. It's like a little bit of a fucking weird dubstep vibe on that song.
And then it has that piano. I recognize that from somewhere. It's like, it's from another song. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, I got you. That closer is really fucking strange. I don't know where did that come from? Which I guess is kind of what I'm saying a lot of the time.
A good place.
Yeah, it's all coming from a good place, but they're very different good places.
Somewhere cool.
It's coming from the cool dimension. Oh, wow. Actually, I'm just noticing this. When the Night Calls and Cabin Fever Freestyle both have a runtime of 4 minutes and 44 seconds, and then Deep Sea Diver and Set It on Fire both have a runtime of 3 minutes and 33 seconds. I wonder if they're doing an intentional...
Whoa, and Graveyard Vibes and Andromeda has 3:55.
Oh, wait, yeah, they're the same. That has to be intentional, right? Oh, and then the last one has 3:33.
Yeah, bro, that's fucking crazy.
Oh, yeah. Okay, wait. Let's break it down here. 3:55 on the first track, and then on Graveyard Vibes and Andromeda. And then you got 4:44 on When the Night Calls and Cabin Fever Freestyle. And then 3:33 on Deep Sea Diver and Set It on Fire. What? There's something here. Like there's like a code I'm supposed to decipher or something. I don't know what this album wants from me.
Let me see the ARG, dog.
Yeah, maybe is there an ARG with this or something? Like, or are they just doing some numerology fuckery?
Fucking whatever.
I don't know. It's cool though. It's very cool. There's a lot to dive into. What'd you end up scoring this then?
What'd you score this?
I'm gonna go with a 77 on it.
I went with a 79.
77 and 79, yeah. I think that it's not tapped all of its potential quite yet, for sure, but still very, very cool. Very cool stuff.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, all right. So I guess that kind of wraps it up for this week's actual album releases then. So rolling into our actual rankings for the albums this week, we're going to go top to bottom. Why not? And we're just going to rank the new ones because that's kind of the vibes we're going for here. Just kind of go in an order throughout the year. And naturally, at the bottom of the list here, we have Kim Petras, Slut Pop My Annie. Wow. Kim Petras's Kim Petras's Slut Pop Miami.
Skibidi.
Jesus Christ.
Skibidi Bob.
Maybe somebody here can say it right, but that came out to an average of a 9% between the two of us. What a fucking phenomenal record. And then... And then fourth place for the week is Serpentwithfeet's Grip, coming in at a 55.5%. Mid-album gets mid scores, I suppose. Then coming in at our third place for the week is IDLES TANGK with 69.5% between the two of us.
Nice.
Very nice. And then next up above that is Yeat's 2093, tragically only coming in at a 79%. Probably should be a 100 if we're being fair and objective with things. And then Quadeca's Scrapyard tops the week for us at a cool 85.5% between the two of us. Awesome mixtape from Quadeca. Really excited to hear what comes next, and really excited to just keep diving back into those songs we heard on here as well. Great little project here. So I guess that's about all we got for you guys this week. Hope you got some good recommendations from this. I know our next week is going to be pretty loaded with important albums, just like this one had a few. Next week, we have MGMT's new album, and I Don't Know How But They Found Me's new albums coming out, which both should be pretty cool, I think. We're also going to be covering Freako's Where We've Been, Where We Go From Here next week. And that was this week's release, but we decided to give ourselves a little bit more time with it as well. So kind of like what we did with Glass Beach on that one. So stay tuned for our next episode when we're going to dive into all of those records and more. And thank you all very much for listening and sticking in with us here till the end. And Micah, do you have anything to say to the people before we head on out of here?
Bye.
That's pretty wholesome. And we'll see you next time.